Li Bai, drinking alone beneath the moon. One jar of wine among the flowers, no dear friend to drink with. I offer a cup to the moon. With my shadow, there are three of us. But the moon doesn't know how to drink, and my shadow can't help but follow me. Still, I'll make do with their company. Have fun and make the most of spring. I sing, and the moon rolls around. I dance, and my shadow leaps about. While I'm lively, we enjoy each other. When I get too drunk, we go our own ways. Let's keep this undemanding friendship till we join together in far Cloud River. This poem is arguably the most famous poem in classical Chinese literature. At least it's one of the most translated. I mean, I've read this poem in at least three, four, five different versions, and I think I have a Spanish edition of a Spanish anthology of Tang Dynasty poems, and not only does it include it, it goes on the cover in its original Chinese script. So this, as I said, is probably Li Bai's most famous poem, and it reflects his writing style very well. So what's the poem about? It's again pretty easy to understand. It's not a dense, symbolic piece of work as some classical Chinese poetry tends to be a patchwork of quotations. No, this is pretty straightforward. We have Li Bai. He wants to drink, but he's alone. And in China, as we mentioned when we talked about the previous poem, the act of drinking was, among the intellectuals, a social act in which you met with others and you interchanged conversation, aesthetic pursuits, a bit like the Greek symposia. But Li Bai is alone, but he improvises two friends. I mean, he's a genius and a cosmic Taoistic type of genius, so who make him company in drinking? His own shadow and the personified moon. And in the beginning, they don't seem to collaborate too much. Says, the moon doesn't know how to drink. My shadow just follows me around. But he decides, let's make the most of it. Let's make the best of the situation. And in the end, it does seem, this is slightly comical, that the moon and the shadow do participate in the feasting. Yeah, the moon rolls around, it moves while he's singing, and the shadow dances just as Li Bai is dancing. Okay, and at the end, says, okay, while we're having fun, we enjoy each other. When Li Bai gets just too drunk, I might just falls asleep, and the others go their own ways. And the couplet finishes with the trademark Li Bai hyperbolistic image. It says, let's keep this undemanding friendship till we join together in far Cloud River. Now, I imagine Cloud River here refers to the River of Heaven, which is how the ancient Chinese and Japanese called the Milky Way. So here we have this great cosmic symbol. Li Bai tells the moon and his shadow, let's keep on being friends forever and join in the heavens when I ascend back to them. One of the nicknames for Li Bai that his friends called him was the banished immortal. So the idea is that he's such a superior genius, so unconventional and untied to this world, that he really is one of the immortals that has fallen into this earth for a little time. What does this poem have that makes it so good? Well, perhaps from a Western perspective, there is a comical subversion of expectations. So this is symposic poetry, and the topic of this poem is drinking. The title states it, but it's drinking alone, which is, as I said, weird, at least in a Chinese context. And this poem takes the conventions of the symposic poem of being with friends, enjoying their company, dancing and reciting with them, because the poet is dancing and reciting to himself, and with nature as a background. That's the moon and a shadow of himself produced by the said moon. But he plays out in the poem, the fiction, that they are sentient, that they react to him, that they react to his invitation, and they are, like other scholar officials, enjoying his company in a perfect party. So the poem feels a little bit, how could I say, not shocking or outrageous, but it has that comical element of subverting or putting expectations upside down. The images are, they're very well designed. It's a poem like most Chinese poems that makes use of parallelism, but it stands so effectively that it crystallizes in very clear and selective images. So one jar wine, flowers. No friend drink wine. Yeah. Or later on, yeah. I sing, moon rolls around, dance, shadow leaps about. So in the original Chinese poem, we have less words because Chinese is a more synthetic language. And the parallelism in these verses would have been quite strict. That is, a noun for a verb like sing, sorry, a noun, a verb for motion like sing, and a verb for motion, dance. Yeah? And one of the partners, moon in one verse, the other partner, shadow in the other verse, a noun. Roll around, leap about. So but this is done in a very spontaneous sounding, fluid way in this poem. It doesn't feel unnecessary or artificial, as parallelism does seem in many Chinese poems, in which you read and it feels jarring, like why this thing is parallel with this thing. They don't really make sense. But here they do. They fit perfectly, and they feel realistic and authentic. Yeah? Great poem. Yeah, I think it clearly deserves its reputation. It's funny, it's evocative, it's very, very personal. I mean, it has Li Bai written all over it, both in the main development and in the hyperbolic conclusion. I do not know if this is the best poem in Chinese literature, but it's certainly the one I remember the most. And, well, tell me what you think, if you agree or you disagree. And that's all for today. Thank you.